been a lot of different kinds of comedy in the years since I grew up in the 1960s and 70s, and we're going to talk to our panel about the many different kinds of comedy that they write for the late night shows. I guess you likely write jokes for monologues, but you also probably write, and we'll find out, you write sketches and the other kinds of comedy bits that we see on the shows.
Well, I've been there a while, so I don't really have a specialty per se. I write a lot of commercial parodies, and I write a fair amount of the political stuff.
Okay.
But I'm just sort of a general sketch writer for the show.
A lot of our sketches have music in them,
Yeah.
and a lot of the sketches consist of original songs. So we'll write a lot of original songs for the show. And
Work
we'll
with the band members on those?
Yeah, we'll work with the band, work on some sketches with those guys. Like just a bit we do called Slow Jam the News that Dale and I write. And thank you.
It's a good bit.
One dude.
What about you, JR? What would you say you specialize in, if anything?
I'm constantly pitching stuff on online poker, which is
Why you spend so much
mainly
time
how I spend my day. So that's my expertise. And I'm way better than everybody at work on it.
If there are people in this audience who are here to learn because they're interested in maybe getting into a comedy career like the ones you have, should they forget about it if they're just not funny at all?
That's a great thing to do, and I would recommend anybody who wants to get into this business, you know, instead of just feeling frustrated or spinning your wheels, do something, you know. So I tried out stand-up. I went to some open mics, which are dismal, you know. They're awful, but you got to do it. And
what's the worst part of an open mic night?
well, it's all comics. So and a lot of them know each other, and I didn't know any of them. And so you go there and you get your number, and they do a lottery, and you get your time slot, and it might be 3 hours from now. And so you sit there, you watch these comics, and most of them are trying out new stuff, and it's not very good, and they're just trying to make their friends laugh. And then it's your turn, and you get up there, and your stuff, by definition, it's not going to be very good. You're not going to be very good. It takes a long time to get good at it. So not only are you not good, but you're performing for other comics who, and literally nobody laughs. And it's just, I mean, it's really, really, really bad. But you got to do it. You got to.
You're gonna love it.
So in other words, because I know that if I was, a student here, I would want somebody. Okay, what's the real lowdown? I think that you go out there and, like you were saying, do the stand-up. Go to UCB. Join a group. Be a member of a Herald. If that's not your thing, then you'll find out pretty quickly. And then you can focus on, doing web shorts. And, maybe you'll find out, like we have a guy on staff who is technically a writer, but he directs all our pieces. And it's because, he, was shooting stuff that he had written, and then eventually figured out, you know what, I can make a great living and get more notoriety from being a director.
I think that, that especially for writing for these shows, there's kind of, a language that each one of these shows have, and I think that you learn, the tricks, the stuff that works, the stuff that doesn't work, the way that jokes need to be handled, and I mean, I feel like I had a general idea of how to put a sketch together and what a joke was, but I don't feel like I was writing great sketches, and I have to say most of the time it's pretty rare for a writer to come in and set the place on fire right out.
Now, when you're working for one guy, I mean, you're working with a bunch of people, but really there's one guy at the top of your show, it's Jimmy Fallon, and at the top of your show, it's Jon Stewart. How much of your creativity is sort of spent or expended trying to write in a way that you think would be good for Jimmy?
When I'm writing my bits, I'm almost really honestly never thinking of Jimmy.
I mean, it is the job. That is the job.
Yeah.
And if you're doing anything else, really you're not doing your job. But the part of fitting in like you were saying, if you fit in at the place, you're going to be speaking the same language as the host anyway.
Yep.
And the show, once you learn the language of the show, which is something that Eric mentioned, I think is a really apt metaphor. Each of these shows has a different voice. And just being funny isn't good enough. And if you're writing stuff to submit to any of these shows and you think it's really, really funny stuff, guys, we throw away 100 pages a day of really, really funny stuff that never gets on the show.
Okay, I want to thank our panelists so much for being here tonight.